Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and in this video we're going to be continuing our unboxing of Tainted Grail. This time we'll be taking a look at the box called the Monsters of Avalon, and we're going to take a look at the back of this box and then dive into the miniatures that come inside of it. Now, if you haven't checked out the Tainted Grail unboxing video, which landed on the channel some days ago, I'll put a link to it in the top right hand corner of this video. As well, you can also go check out my Kickstarter preview, which I did covering the Tainted Grail while the Kickstarter was ongoing. So without further ado, we'll flip the box over and take a look at what comes inside. So Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon expansion includes 20 additional plastic miniatures, does not include additional game rules, so this is strictly just a miniatures upgrade to enhance the look of the gameplay as you're going through it. You can see right here, of course, you need to have the actual core box, which we unboxed in the channel earlier on, and this gives us a nice overview of all the different creatures we're going to find inside the box. So the very first thing you're going to see when you open up the box lid is you're going to see this reference sheet, which is really a graphical depiction of where these miniatures should be slotted into the insert in the game box. So that's extremely helpful because the first few times you pull these things out, it might take you some time to figure out which ones go where. There's not a ton of them in the box, but they're actually quite large. But either way, this is a really nice reference sheet they put in there. For at least the first handful of times you have to go through that. And also a picture on the opposite side showing the insert completely empty. So that should really help you out in getting those back in the box. And then once we remove that out of the way, you can see we've got the sun dropped miniatures here. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the Kickstarter, sun drop was something that was allowed during the Kickstarter to essentially shade these miniatures, pre-shade them so that their details popped even more so. I went ahead and definitely grabbed that. So we're going to go through each of these miniatures one by one up close. The first miniature out of the box is the underbrush worm. You can see the detail here on the actual worm itself. It's pretty impressive, and that sun drop really does help to bring out all those little ridges, of which there are a whole bunch of them. So again, you're going to see this throughout all the miniatures. I won't be repeating this too often, but the detail level of these miniatures is really phenomenal, and there's a lot here. So if you are a painter and even you didn't get the sun drop option on the miniatures, you're going to have lots of detail to be painting out with these particular ones. They're very, very high quality. Now check out the detail on this next one. It looks absolutely awesome. All those things coming out of the base are hands. It looks absolutely ridiculously cool. And we've got a number of different weapons and shields and things like that, along with a couple individuals all piled in there together. This is a really interesting miniature. Again, looks very, very good from all angles. Really, really nice one. Next up, we have a miniature called Hammerbeak, and I will show you this one all the way around. Again, very impressed with the bases of these, as they have lots of detail to match the incredible detail even on the miniature sculpt itself. Very, very happy with what I'm seeing here. They look phenomenal. Absolutely gorgeous. Next up, we have the Wolf Walker. You can see the base on this one isn't even an actual shape of any kind. It's just perfectly designed in to align with the base of the actual miniature itself. So it gives it a way to stand up without the weight of it tipping left or right. But it is certainly no circle, square, rectangle, or anything like that. It is very thematically ingrained into the miniature, which looks really cool because it looks like it's climbing over a bunch of rocks and pebbles and that type of thing. So a very, very cool looking miniature there. Here we have a miniature called the Worm Tangle, and sounds exactly right. As you can see, there's a bunch of worms all tangled up in a big mess, a big pile. And again, very similar to the worm we saw earlier on. The detail there all the way around them looks fantastic. You've got different ones, different sculpts kind of popping in and out everywhere, but they're all just in one big mess. Looks very nice. Here we have a miniature that is called the Weird Bear, and you can see here, wow, like look at the detail in the base and the sides of this miniature. It looks ridiculously good. I'm going to say this a lot because I'm really impressed with the quality and the detail of these miniatures. They look so, so good, and I love Love that the bases are really designed to make it look like it's standing on a structure or something, and it's not like a perfect circle or a perfect square. It is kind of just very rugged, but just enough that it can keep the weight of it and everything positioned perfectly. It looks and meshes with the miniature so well. I really am blown away at the quality of these things. This miniature is known as the Warped Elk, and you can see that it absolutely is. Again, looking beautiful from all angles, all the way around from the base to the very top of this miniature. It looks fantastic. This next miniature is called the Weird Child. The base is beautiful on this one as well. This is a very strange looking miniature, but you can see here there is a child right in the center there, very small. Looks very cool. I'm really impressed. Like, I thought the miniatures were going to be good, and based on the past products that Awaken Realms has put out, they've done some really nice miniatures, especially with Nemesis and things like that. This is taking their miniature sculpts to a whole other level. This next miniature is called the Four Dweller Reclaimer, and you can see this beautiful sword being held right in front of the miniature. Looks awesome. A very cool pose. Holding up what looks to be another human in a very bad situation. Beautiful on the back as well. Very nice all the way around. This beautiful creature is called a Dullahan, and it is super awesome. The pose on this one is very unique, very interesting. Again, base looks phenomenal. Detail levels off the charts. And I really am interested myself in actually potentially adding some highlights to this thing, even though it really doesn't necessarily need it. This miniature here is called the Mulch Man, and you can see that it absolutely is just that. Again, all kinds of beautiful little details hidden in amongst this miniature. Very cool sculpt, very unique pose. Looking good from all angles. Here we have what's called a Mist Bearer, a very cool sculpt. You can see here it's very thin up through the middle and has very beautiful looking wings on the back. This one's really impressive, a really nice one all the way around. I haven't been let down by any of these, to be honest, so far. They're all just fantastic. Here we have what's referred to as a Knight Errant. Another very intriguing and interesting looking miniature for sure. Awesome pose, great base. Sundrop looks very nice. Another thing to mention about the Sundrop too is the fact that it's very evenly distributed. I really like how they've gone about the Sundrop, and they've obviously learned a lot by using Sundrop as time has gone on throughout their games, and they've become a lot better at actually ensuring that the Sundrop really does bring those details out, and the right amount of usage of it is done on each of these miniatures, because some of the earlier entries of Sundrop weren't as well executed, like Lord of Hellas, for instance, but as things went along, especially starting with Nemesis and beyond, it's been getting better and better. The next miniature up is Selkie, if I'm actually pronouncing his name correctly, but I don't even know. It could be a he or a she. I don't know what it is, but it's got this individual trapped inside of its mouth, it appears. It is a very creepy looking miniature, but also a very beautiful and, well, interesting creation for sure. The detail level all the way around is really nice. Lots and lots of little details on the back there as well. This thing is quite large too. So I'm doing my best not to drop this thing, but it is a beautiful monstrosity is the best way I would say it. This next miniature in line is considered the Angry Mob. You guys will be familiar with this because I'm pretty sure I dealt with an Angry Mob in my Tainted Grail Kickstarter preview, so it's cool to actually have a miniature that represents a group of people that are not too happy with you in most cases during the game. This miniature is called the Warped One, and I can absolutely see why it is called that, just based on looking at this thing. It certainly is quite warped all the way around. A very intriguing miniature. Not sure what to say about this one or what it's all about, but very unique for sure. This miniature is referred to as the Bow Maiden, and again, a very beautiful looking miniature all the way. Given a quick rotate so you guys can see it from many different angles here. Next up, we have the Child of Morrigan, if I'm pronouncing this one correctly. Again, a very dynamic looking base. It's actually quite a large base, and this one is actually a circle, so most of these bases have been not a shape that you could actually pick out. But this one here definitely is on a circle base. It fits this miniature quite nicely. Again, there's lots of detail in it as well. There's some beautiful detail even in the miniature as always. Very impressed. Here we have a much more simplistic sculpt or miniature. This is the Lost Knight. A very beautiful one though. Very simple compared to the most of the ones we've seen so far, which have been very, very involved. So this is just straight up a knight here on the stand. Again, a circle base with some nice terrain kind of mixed in there as well. Sword looks really nice. Everything about this one is quite beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, this is the final miniature inside the box. It's called the Hell Pig. That is a beautiful sight indeed. Look at this thing. So again, a very dynamic base, very large and bulky. Again, this actual miniature is very beautiful in its own way, obviously. Details really nice all the way around. Give it a quick flip to this side here. This Hell Pig definitely doesn't seem like something you want to run into in the game, but a very cool looking miniature all the way around. And that is going to wrap up the unboxing of Monsters of Avalon from Awaken Realms. Again, this box was full of just miniatures, no gameplay elements. This is strictly just to enhance the look and feel of the game as you're going through it. Hopefully this gives you a nice overview of what you can expect to find inside this box. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.